Hello, welcome to Big Guy Boards. I'm Scott. This video is going to be about volume, so quite a popular topic within the Big Guy Boards community. A lot of people asking what sort of volume they should ride, or does it vary depending on what board you ride. So I thought I'd do another video on volume. I'm going to talk through my quiver. I'm going to talk about how I vary volume depending on what sort of surfboard I'm riding. Okay, I'll just start by talking about how my volume varies, my kind of volume range. So if you go on any volume calculator, for me, my suggested volume is generally in the low 40s. So I usually use that as a starting point, and I move up and down from there, depending on the type of board I'm on. This is my gravel board. This is a Lost Hydra. I've done another review on this. I'll put a link up here. This is 511. This is 40 litres. So this is the bottom end of my volume. The only time I'd go less volume than this is if I was probably going on a trip to Indo or somewhere where I knew I was guaranteed decent waves. I'd then probably come down to high 30s. But generally, when I'm surfing in the UK, I'm not going much lower than 40 litres. And a lot of questions I often get on the Big Guy Boards community is, isn't that volume too low? And especially with a gravel board, when generally you're advised to go a higher volume. A lot of people wonder if that's too low, and for me it's not at all. It paddling around the lineup and paddling into waves, it feels the same as the Uber XL. It feels the same kind of paddle strength there, so relatively easy to catch waves, paddles around fine. So that drop in volume hasn't made any difference to paddling for me, and I think that's just because, as I've discussed before, the overall template of the board, if you look at the rocker, it's relatively flat. So for me, for a gravel board, definitely go short if you can and bring down the volume. This is 511, and yeah, it just feels great for me, absolutely ideal. So this is kind of now what I'll be basing my gravel boards off. This kind of length is fine. This length and volume is fine for me, so that works great. Right, we'll talk about the XL now. Okay, so this is Lost Uber XL, Uber Driver XL. This one's 6'4", 44 litres, just under 44 litres. So it's nearly 4 litres more than my gravel board. For me, the decision behind that is a Dane Driver has much more of a shortboard template, and for me that can make it, different characteristics of the board made it slightly more difficult to paddle, and also quite hard to maintain and generate speed compared to a kind of board that shape. So for me, when I'm doing that with a Dane Driver, I want to slightly come up in volume to help me with that speed generation and paddling. Now 4 litres is quite a big jump from there to here, and I've been experimenting with volume for quite a while now. I think if I was going to get another Dane Driver, I'd definitely come down maybe 42, 41, 42 litres. So I still want more volume than that, but I think 4 litres is quite a big jump. It still doesn't feel bad, but I'm now getting used to riding smaller boards. So that would be the next step. Okay, so this is a Paizo Ghost. This is 6'6". This is my kind of good wave board, my step up. When it starts to get overhead, really clean, walled up conditions. This is what board I want to be riding. This is, I think it's exactly 40 litres. It is. This is 40.1 litres. So it's the same volume as my gravel board. So I've come back down in volume now from my Dane Driver. My thinking behind that is, generally the waves I'm going to be riding in this are going to be really good, punchy waves. There's going to be no trouble paddling into them. So obviously, paddle wise, it's got a bit more length, but it's also a really kind of pulled in high performance template, which may make it slightly more difficult to paddle and catch waves, but then you've got the added length, which is going to help. But volume wise, I think the waves you're going to be riding and catching on this, you know, going to be easy to catch, and then there's going to be no need to really generate your own speed. A lot of the speed is just going to come from the wave anyway. So for me, that kind of board on those kind of waves, I come down in volume again. And as I said at the start, if I was going on a trip somewhere, if I knew I was guaranteed really good, high quality waves, I'd probably come down again, probably to the high 90s, 38, high 90s, high 30s, maybe 38 litres, around that area I'd probably be looking at. So yeah, for me, high performance, you can always come down in volume quite a bit. Yeah, and this feels fine. I've had no problems with reduced volume with regards to paddling or anything else really. And I did a review on this before, I'll put it up here, but it goes surprisingly well in weaker conditions as well. I think I've had it in shoulder high waves, and it, you know, for its length and less, you know, reduced volume, it still feels relatively easy to surf. So yeah, definitely high performance shortboard for good waves. For me, I come down in volume again. Okay, this is the last roundup. This is 610, 40, just under 45 litres. So the kind of conditions I use this in is when it really starts to get solid, easily double overhead, plus. So the main thing with this is, firstly, you've got the added length which you need to paddle into waves. So I find it's, you know, much more confident paddling into bigger waves with a longer board. You generally need that extra paddle power because the waves are generally moving faster unless you're taking off underneath it. So this board's great for that. It also just got really good hold as well, so kind of continual rail line and the pulled in tail just give loads of confidence in holding the wave. So in regards to volume, I always think added volume on a step up is no problem really. So you're not really doing as many performance, for me, I'm not really doing as many performance-y style turns than I would be on like, my high performance shortboard or my Dane Driver. So it's more about just feeling comfortable, confident, which I find that added volume gives you. But it's not so much that it doesn't feel manoeuvrable and kind of performance. For me, this is the kind of board where I want to push, and it kind of pushes back in solid waves. So yeah, for me, added volume is never really a problem when you're going for a step up to waves of that kind. Alright, so I thought it might be quite helpful just to see them all lined up next to each other, just do a little comparison between you know, overall templates and things. One interesting thing to look at is with the Ghost and the Roundup, you would initially think, well, the Roundup's just a longer, slightly higher volume version of the Ghost, but they feel completely different. Even taking the volume into account, they still feel like very different boards. You could hopefully see there they got a slightly different template as well, so kind of the nose is slightly different in the Roundup. It's kind of a bit fuller up front to give you that extra paddle ability. Tails as well, similar, but it just looks slightly more of a continual rail line on the Roundup to give you extra hold. So yeah, just to recap volume again, we're going kind of 40 litres. I generally go up in volume for a daily driver to kind of maintain speed, help you paddle a bit with a shortboard, come back down in volume for a high performance board, so generally you're going to be in better waves, so you don't need the volume. And then finally for me, step up again, you want a bit more volume to give you confidence in the wave basically, and give you, you know, easy to paddle around. You don't need as much performance, so it's for me fine to come up in volume. Thanks for watching.